Okay, guys, we are live. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great, nice and calm. That music kind of lulled me into a nice, calm state of being.
Hey, Alec, too bad Linda's not here. Linda would really calm us down with the meditation that she does on Mondays, right?
Right, and we'll be back on Monday. That's a
You'll be back
promise.
on Monday. Great.
We'll be back on Monday. We had a take the week off for a couple of reasons, including my emergency root canal, but that's a conversation for
Oh,
another
man.
day. But we'll be
Sounds like,
back
sounds like a good
next
weekend.
week. Oh yeah, it was a unpleasant surprise. So the
You
calming
fired your
music was
dentist,
very
right?
helpful. I have just about to. He called me all day yesterday, and I didn't answer the call, and he chose not to leave a message. So I need to finish a piece of work with him, and then I'll be looking for a new dentist. So if anybody is a dentist out there who wants to make a referral in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, send me an instant message.
Well, you know, Juan and our members, Alex, as you know, is our vice president, group supervisor of membership development. And Alec adds the topics from time to time. So maybe you could add a topic, need a dentist.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? I don't think you'd be alone, right? Or did you mean
No,
to say
I would
Did
not
you-
be
did-
alone.
Hey, Freddie Clark says he has pliers.
Well,
Did you say
that could be an option, Freddie. That could be an
Did you say
option.
absolutely or absolutely?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Sorry, Juan.
Absolutely. I'll use the Simpsons reference.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, we want to thank as Wolf Blitzer has been saying all the time, we want to welcome our viewers from around the country and around the world. Juan, how long have we been doing this? And Alec, months since March, something like that?
Yeah, since March or
March.
April. Is it March or April? Yeah, it's been a while.
One
Anyway,
way,
it's
shape, or
great.
form since March or April.
It's great phototherapy for us. It's great phototherapy for our members. And this week, if we could switch to my screen here, we have something kind of different. What we're going to do is we're going to start out with some very calming images. And then we're going to go to the tough love. Last week, Juan, how much fun was that doing the love and the tough love images?
Oh, that was great. I really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of our viewers enjoyed it too. So
Yeah, they really did. So what the tough love is, like we show images that we love, and then we show images that might need a little tough love. But we're going to start out. We're going to start out with some very calming images. And all I can say is I have to apologize first because we can't show, in the short time that we have here, all the calming images. But there were so many amazing images, starting with this one by Chris Coos. Juan, I know you love lighthouses. It's a White House. That might have been a Freudian slip because something that's on my mind.
yeah.
But you love light. Look at this the composition of this. I feel like I'm there. And, as you know, if you use a foreground element in a scene, you really feel like you're there.
Well, it gives you that sense of depth and dimension into the scene, right? And it, in the framing that this foreground does, it really directs our eyes right into that lighthouse, which is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful scene. I love how those, reeds are kind of also guiding your eye to look in the different parts of the scene. I wish we had a little bit more dramatic sky there. So maybe I would do that in post. I would add a little bit more contrast and texture onto that sky just to make the image a little bit more dramatic. But it's beautiful, beautiful shot.
Yeah, I really love this image by Chris. I don't think we've shown one of his images before. Also, when we do a landscape picture, when I do one, I want it to look like it looks to my eyes. Everything in the scene in focus. So he used a wide angle lens, small aperture. Might have focused 1/3 into the scene. Might have used focus stacking or whatever. But for me, I really feel, and we also say that the mood is the most important thing in the picture. So I really love this. And by the way, Alec is going to be reading the comments. So if you guys have comments on the pictures, on what we're doing, whatever, please feel free to comment. But hey, Alec, what do you think of this?
I think it's there's a comment here from Phyllis that I agree with. I really love the framing on it.
Yeah,
It is a very nice it is a very nice soothing picture for this afternoon.
you know what? That's a good word. That's a good word. Very soothing. Also, it's my new Sammonism. Dead center is not deadly. Right? Right?
See, I
I
had
don't
to
know
look
what
to
this.
see where this
I'm
shot was
also
taken because it looks
laughing.
familiar to me, but I have not been to Sodas Point, New York.
Yeah, neither have I. So that's not relatively speaking. Hey, Juan, maybe you, me, Freddie Clark, Linda could shoot up there sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not that far. It's just between Syracuse and Rochester, right between both of those. So
Hey, before we came on, like the tough love is coming up. Like when we have one shots that he picked, we have the love, and we have the tough love down here. Before we came on, we said we're not going to give any of these shots tough love because they're so common. But I think it is running downhill a little to the left.
yeah,
What do you
you're
think,
right.
Juan?
And usually I'm the one that catches that right away. And I think part of the reason we don't see that is because that lighthouse looks really nice and straight.
Yeah.
But that horizon is longer in the scene, so you will notice that sloping a lot more than you would in the lighthouse.
So, Chris, 9.9. 9.9
Hold the
out of
card,
10 for this.
9.9. Maybe we should have stickies with scores.
Yeah, I think we can. Okay, Vicky has been here before. This is a shot that I really want to get. They have these guys out at Jones Beach. Alec, not too far from you.
Yeah.
I just love this picture. We could say that the background's a little distracting. Who cares? I just think this is just she used one word here, calm, and this is very common. Look at the comments over here. Wonderful, very nice, amazing. And this is really one of the things I love about the phototherapy Facebook group. And, then we post the stuff on YouTube that the interaction, as Jim Griggs says, all the time. This group is so interactive and so active. I mean, I'm loving it. I spend about 2 hours a day here.
Yeah, I love this snowy owl. The fact that it's there, kind of sleeping, it's actually making me fall asleep.
Well, that's okay. It's late in the day, and we used to call this happy hour, so we used to be drinking during this, but we cut that out. But I just love the feeling of this picture, and it's a good exposure. As far as a technical tip goes, I always try to expose for the highlights, and that we could see detail here and even up here. This is a probably tricky exposure, right, Juan? Because it's kind of like backlit, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a
the light's coming
45-degree angle from the right coming in. You can see that because of the shadow. But, Vicky was able to capture all of the dynamic range there. And, you can still see that little halo around the owl, which really makes it stand out from the background, right? It makes it really just, give you that nice separation between the reeds in the background and the snowy owl.
Well, that's why, like in portraiture, right, we use a hair light to separate
light,
the subject from the background. Okay, Juan, I'm going to break the rule. How would you crop this differently?
Actually, I'm not sure I would crop it all that differently. I kind of like the way it is because it's almost like a camouflage shot. You can see how the color of the owl blends in with the sand and with the reeds around it. So I like the crop. It's not centered. The owl is looking straight at us. It's not like it's looking in one direction or the other. But so what would you do?
Oh, I wouldn't do anything. I was just asking you. Okay, Vicky just sent me a private message. She says it's a stuffed owl that you could buy at the gift shop on Long Island. No, I'm only no. It's really cute. The only thing I might have gotten, and sometimes, and there's a couple of other examples of this coming up. Sometimes you have to really shoot fast. I might have gotten down a little bit lower. Rather than looking down slightly. But again, it's a beautiful shot. Okay, guys, get ready for an image with impact.
Oof, nice.
Wayne Rodas, look at this. Don't you wish you were there like right now?
Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Like
never been
5
to Lake
minutes
Tahoe,
ago.
but yeah, this is just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful.
And you know what? I publish pictures sometimes like this on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever, and people say, "Oh, how come you didn't open up the shadows?" Just because we can do something doesn't mean we have to do it. Like these shadows are totally blocked up, and I think that really makes the picture. And having this island here, I think the composition is wonderful. The negative space up here, the drop shadow, and the beveled frame. You could do this in Photoshop, by the way, for members.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
the
easy to
fact
do.
that we're seeing all this texture and all this silhouetting of the trees, that the darkness does not bother me. I think it's part of the scene, right? I think that if you brought in
Yeah.
some texture into that darkness, it would kind of remove that sense of reality from the scene, because this is how you would see it out there, right? It would be pretty dark with that light, those last rays of light for that sunset or
This
sunrise.
this is
First rays
just
of light for the
gorgeous,
sunrise,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
You know what?
Nice composition, beautiful bay. I wish I had my boat out there right now.
Well, I wish we were on your boat right now.
Yes.
Okay, so we should talk to Wade, and maybe we could do like a live session, right? You have all the satellite stuff, right? We could do it. We could do a live session from the boat, right?
From the boat, yeah. I'll trailer my boat all the way out there, and it's a nice sizable boat, so we would all fit in there plus all the satellite gear.
Alec, you up for that?
Just give me the date.
But
And
seriously,
actually, if you look at the comments, there are a lot of people that in the comments would hop on that plane right now
hey
to be
Juan,
there with a
workshop.
nice cold beverage.
And Lake Tahoe
Hey
would be
Juan, I
nice.
think a workshop might be in the future.
Right. A boat workshop in Lake Tahoe.
Well, we could take turns, but you know what? Seriously, the presentation is so important, and Wayne did such a great job, I think, on the presentation here with the beveled edges, the drop shadow. The framing really adds just a nice little touch to an amazing image. I think there's something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember. Okay, next up, Jim. Wayne has been here before. Jim Many. How do you say that one? Alec, what do you think?
McMenemy?
Enemy. Yeah, we should call this thing the pictures by people.
I feel like I'm a
whose names
Starbucks.
I know. Right.
You know how they've
But look
always
at-
mispronounced everybody's names as Starbucks?
Oh, that's right. But look at this. Look how beautiful and calming. As Juan, you and I talk about this all the time, that when you're photographing waves, there's a fine difference between too much blur and not enough blur. And for me, I think this is just perfect. Toes in the water. Oh, I can't. I'm looking at the car. We'll leave it at toes in the water.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and this is one thing that, oftentimes I tell people when we're workshops and you're trying to do those slow shutter speeds, is that you want to vary that shutter speed, right? You want to try different shutter speeds, because you don't know which one's going to work the best. Sometimes that's a little slower shutter speed, sometimes a little faster shutter speed. So just don't find just that one and shoot in one shutter speed. And this is especially true when you're shooting, water like this, right? Because the water like that is going to have, it's going to be moving at different speeds depending on the waves as they come in. Some waves may be a little bit more aggressive than others. So you always want to vary that shutter speed when you're trying to make the shot so you can pick the one that works the best.
And here's a quick tip that I got from, excuse me, Alex Morley. He says, when you're photographing at a slow shutter speed, set your camera on the highest frame rate. Right. So if it's a quarter of a second, it just keeps going and going and going, because, the gesture, we talk about gesture all the time, and we see gesture. This owl has nice gesture. Let me see. I think some more gestures coming up. But anyway, setting your camera on that high frame rate will help you capture those subtle differences in the gesture of the waves. And they look totally different when they're coming in and going out, right, Juan?
Right. That's exactly right. Whether you're trying to capture that movement of the wave or you're actually adding intentional movement to the scene. For example, we shoot a lot of times when we have those beautiful trees, whether they're aspens or birches or pine trees that are nice and straight, and you're doing some camera movements to add some movement to the scene. Doing that at a high shutter speed, or high frame rate, I should say, is going to allow you to, make better images, because you may throw out 99% of them, but there's going to be one or two that are going to work, and you have better chances of capturing an image that really works when you shoot a bunch of images and just select the one that works and delete the rest. Pixels are free, right?
That's right. Hey, Alec, is Jim here?
No, he's not. Unfortunately, he's not here, but Wayne is here. And, just getting back to his image, he did say that he does drop the shadow and bevel on the images he puts on the web, and does it in Photoshop. So he wanted you to know that, Rick.
Good. I'm glad to see there's
Cool.
someone else on the planet who uses Photoshop. Getting back to this image, Jim says, try to keep the salt air off your camera. Oh, nuts. I'm not calm anymore. Getting back to Alex Morley and giving me that tip. Juan, I don't know if you know this tip by him, by Alex, but Alex Morley says, shower with your tripod.
Oh, yeah.
And this is actually a good tip. Like after a day of shooting in a situation like this, your tripod's covered with salt spray and sand and all this stuff, other stuff. So what he's basically saying is at the end of the day, extend the legs and go in the shower and wash your shower off. And if you're in the shower, and this is best to do alone, by the way.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think what he means is when you're shooting near the ocean, right, to try to clean off all the salt water off your tripod is always a good thing. I actually don't shower with my tripod, but I will put the tripod in the shower and run the shower, before I get in.
He's a modest guy, Rick.
Right, that's right.
A modest guy.
Yeah,
he's a modest guy.
Susan and I used to, who's over in the house listening, we scuba dived like all over the planet, and we used to shower with a scuba gear, at the end of the day, which is very.
I was going to make a joke, but I decided not to because this is a family
rated,
right?
Okay. Heidi has been here before. Heidi Erickson. Again, what we're doing here is we're talking about very calming images because a lot's going on around the world, and we need some calm. I just find this image so calming. Also, like her typeface down here. And I was talking to someone today, and I asked, "Hey, can I put my logo in it in my image?" They says, "As long as it doesn't detract from the image." And Juan, I don't know how you feel about this, but I go in some images, and in the center there's a big copyright symbol, and down the bottom it says, can't use this image under a $250,000 penalty, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that completely distracts from the image. So I'm with you. As long as whatever you're adding, your copyright, your name or whatnot, is not distracting from the image, it's fine. And here, and some people actually go to great lengths to do that. They will actually change the color of their signature to kind of match the scene such that it doesn't detract from the image. But you know what really makes it for me in this image is that mist rising off of the water.
Yeah.
Right? It's like fire in the mist, geese in the mist. I think it really makes this image, and I love all the negatives or the negative space, all the blank space in the image, because it really adds that sense of calmness to the scene.
Juan, I think you bring up a good point. If we can, well, I don't have it in the show, and I should have it in the show, but our banner photo, let me just go quickly. I can't share it, but I just have to take a quick look at it. Our banner photo, if you guys can go to it, just go to Phototherapy Facebook group. Let me see it here. The elephants make up in this scene, in the banner photo, make up maybe like 2% of the frame, maybe less. So what I'm saying is, the main subject here doesn't have to fill the frame. I think a lot of photographers, you've seen this at Bosque, right, at Blast Off, where the photographers from all over the world come with 600, 800 millimeter lenses. They're going to shoot really tight, right? I think this kind of photograph is much more calming and much more relaxing and tells more of a story than, a tight shot like, of these birds here could have been taken in Croton-on-Hudson, New York.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, the subject here is clear what the subject is, but everything else around it gives you that sense of peace and calmness that we were looking for.
Alec, how are the comments coming?
People love it. Nice comments to Heidi around nice image. Phyllis is with us in terms of the color, the fog, the mist that you mentioned. So people are enjoying it.
Phyllis is very, very active as a moderator. So we want to really thank Phyllis a lot and all our moderators. But on these, we try not to show the moderators' pictures because we want to really showcase the members' pictures. We have a lot of fun doing this, as you can tell. And we try to make it educational. But Juan, are you having fun? How much fun is this? Is doing this
Well,
show?
yeah, as we've talked about, this for me is kind of a calming experience every time we do this. It's, brings me back in, forces me to look at the images that people are posting a lot closer, right? So that we can actually see and I can select. And sometimes it's very hard. Today, actually, it was pretty hard to select the images that I wanted to show and talk about today. So, and I think that's an indication of the quality images we have.
Well, on that note, being an editor of your own work is really hard. Like you come back from a trip, right? Like you were just in a workshop out west, right? If someone said, "Hey, Juan, pick 6 pictures," you took hundreds or thousands of pictures, right? How do you pick 6? So being a good editor of your own work, I think, is a skill.
Yeah, it's hard. And
so I really want to comment. Pardon?
It's very hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. I want to commend our members. Okay, here we go. Linda Cullivan has been here. You said something about looking at pictures, Juan, and Ansel Adams said, and we've said this here before, that a picture's often looked at and not looked into. You see a picture like this by Linda Cullivan, our friend, right? Mm-hmm. And wife of Mike Cullivan. And Alec, let us know if she's here, please.
I'm looking she's here. She's here.
I'm looking into this picture. And, if this were like a black and white picture, this could look like something other than sand dunes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful shot. I bet you anything, knowing Linda and Mike like to go to Bosque every December, I bet you this is from White Sands.
Yeah, it is.
It does say it's White Sands, yes.
White Sands, yeah.
But there's White Sands in other places too. So, I bet you this is from actual White Sands in New Mexico.
Hey, when we do our workshop there next year, is this too far away? Because I know we're going to go to the very large array.
Well, yeah, no, you can't really go, as a side trip. You have to do this as a, after the fact or before the fact.
So how far away is it? Like a day or hours?
There's a couple places to stop along the way. So when I've done that drive, I've taken a whole day to get there, and I there's a few really neat places to photograph and see along the way. So including Three Rivers, which is an area that is full of petroglyphs from Native Americans, as they were walking just a mountain. There's thousands and thousands of petroglyphs. Beautiful location.
Wow.
So yeah, it's definitely not a place. I mean, if I remember correctly, if you drive like a bat out of hell, you may make it there in like 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. Okay. But you don't want to do that. You want to take your time and look around.
So when we do the workshop, is the workshop full, or we still have space on it for next year?
We have plenty of space for next year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's in December. You could shoot Juan at juanpons.org. Is that it?
Yeah. Yep. Juan at pons.org. Yep.
Or shoot me an email, whatever, or just post something on the Facebook group. Maybe you guys, some people can get together and do this beforehand. But
again, Linda getting back to this, Phyllis both say it's 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, this is Phyllis has been out there. I just love the feeling. We always say the mood, the feeling, and same thing with this image by Kevin Barrett. Look at this. It's what, all the other pictures are bright and sunny, and we can see all the detail. But look at this picture. This picture has a sense of mystery, which is also a very calming feature.
Yeah, this we should have had this for Halloween because it kind of feels like a Halloween scene, doesn't it? Kind of brooding and mysterious and dark with a full moon. All we need is a soundtrack of some wolves howling in the background.
I love this composition. We have the moon here, we have the stars, we have the foreground. Juan, right? When you do a nighttime picture, what's one of the most important things?
You're asking me?
Yeah, it's the foreground element.
Yeah. Well, the light for me, but yeah, the foreground element as well.
I see so many pictures posted on Instagram of nighttime pictures, and it's just the sky, right?
Right. Oh yeah, I mean, like the astrophotography, stuff that people are doing. which, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Oftentimes you see a lot of folks taking pictures of just the stars, and, they may have traveled a long way, gone to an exotic destination, and they take pictures of the stars. And unless you're Neil deGrasse Tyson or a really preeminent astronomer, you won't know where that picture was taken unless you include something in the foreground to give you a sense of place.
Yep. Really nice. I like the color tone of this too. Okay, Pamela just posted this today, and when she posted it, the image was really small. And I asked her, I said, can you post a larger image? Because I really wanted to show it. So just a quick tip for our members, post the highest resolution, not a raw file, but post a high resolution JPEG. So when we show it, it fills the screen here. But look at the composition here. I love the way this is balanced, that the bottom of the reflection's not cut off. I love the mood. I love the feeling. I love that it's infrared. I know, Juan, you have a camera that's converted to infrared, right?
Oh yeah, and and it's great because I was gonna say, Pamela, you're after my own heart because I love shooting lighthouses with the infrared camera. There's something about it that really makes them kind of ethereal looking and really interesting sky. But I love the fact that you have this tree in the shot with the lighthouse. And the tree is just beautifully converted into white color. Absolutely stunning image. Beautiful.
Look at
I did
this.
not
Very
see
nice.
this, so on the feed. How
I
did
know
I
she
miss
just
it?
put it. Yeah, Pamela DeCamp just put it up today. But look at this. Wall worthy. And here's another one, right? Wall hanger for sure.
Yeah.
So, hey, Pamela, maybe some people want to buy this. So feel free to post, say it's for sale, whatever. This is what we're all about, right? Helping each other.
Port Clinton in
Okay.
Ohio. That's another place we got to go.
Where? Yes.
Well, where that image
Yeah.
was taken, right?
Well, look at another place for the boat.
Yeah, another place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That boat's going to get a lot of road miles.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think we've seen a picture by Dick Tarr here. If you guys
In a long time, yeah. No, Dick.
Yeah,
Dick,
very long
we know Dick.
time.
He's been with us on the workshop, Rick. He went with us to workshop in Bosque, if I remember correctly.
Look at this picture. I think talk about calm. This picture. You mentioned before. Where's the picture with the mist? Did you like the mist? There was a picture here. This one. You said the
Yep.
mist. So, what we learn in one area, we could apply to another area in photography or one situation. So look at the mist here. I think the mist here is just so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the different elements in the scene. The boat, the reflection, the clouds, a little bit of the sky, the mist, and that little tree behind it, all come together very nicely to create a really nice composition. I'm just, the only thing I'm not so sure about is the boat. We've been talking about boats, but that boat, because there's a lot of collision between the boat and the dock, so it kind of makes it a little busy. I mean, it's not terrible, but I think I would have liked it a little better without the boat. So Dick, you needed to get on that boat and move it out of the way before you took the shot.
Or maybe put your boat in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it looks similar to that, so I'm not sure it would have made a difference.
But you know what I like about this negative space? You mentioned, Juan, negative space before. I really like the negative spaces. Some people might have, shot really tight, like this. And the negative space, look at negative space. Negative space. Not so much negative space, but some. So anyway, that's really cool. Okay, now Juan, I know you don't like and correct me if I'm wrong, generally speaking, oversaturated pictures. Is that true?
Yes, I would say that's true.
But I don't know if this, I have seen skies like this. So maybe Kristen, boosted the color, probably so, because this is like purple down here, right? And
Right.
rocks aren't like purple. So maybe, reduce the saturation a little. But this is another Atlantic City. Where?
New
That's
Jersey.
amazing. Alec, do you know where that is?
I do not, but there are, with all due respect, some lovely spots in southern New Jersey.
Oh yeah,
to
absolutely.
capture the seascape.
There's a reason it's called the Garden State. It is. There's some
Yeah.
amazingly beautiful places in New Jersey.
Hey, Juan,
It's not all just exits off the interstate.
It's not all refineries and gas depots.
Hey, Juan, I realized, we call this calm, but we really could have called it places where Juan wants to move his boat. Here,
Yeah.
here, right here, uh, right here.
Well, winter has started, so yeah, my boat's been winterized, so I'm already missing not being able to be out on the water.
Okay, we're coming up to the halfway point in the show, and we're still in the calm. We're going to start with the tough love. Pretty soon, but we're going to go with this one. David Stern, my good friend, very calming picture, but we are here to learn. And when I saw this small on the Facebook phototherapy group page, I said, man, this is an amazing image. And then I saw what David did, that he used like maybe the tilt shift filter in Photoshop or whatever to like blur the sky and to blur the foreground. But over here, there's like a very harsh line here, right? So this part of the tree is in focus and this part of the tree isn't in focus. So David, my good friend, my talented photographer, Fred, and very active member. Is he here, Alec?
He is here. Nick perspective is what he just said.
Yeah. So anyway, David, I hope you forgive me, but again, we are here to learn. So I think if you made this a little more gradual or mask this out, what do you think, Juan?
Yeah, I mean, I would have just masked it out because I like the effect that it has on the sky and on the water, that soft blur effect, but definitely mask out that tree so that you don't have the bottom half of the tree nice and sharp and then the top half, all blurred out. Because it just, it doesn't look right, right? It looks like there's something wrong in the scene.
But, we're looking at for stuff like this. Again, look at, especially like your post. Oh, my God, right? Oh, OMG, this is gorgeous. Yeah. So people.
But this is how we learn, right? This is how we learn. We, we take that little step further to create the images.
Okay, I really like this. Susan and I have been in Varanasi. And have you been there, Juan?
No, never been to India.
No, this is an amazing, amazing place, especially at sunrise. Susan and I were out on a rowboat, like this little rowboat, and they row you around and you can see, everything that's going on. I love the way this little boy, I guess, is walking away. I love the concentration. I love shooting at an angle. But, one of my composition tips is, and it sounds funny, but it's a good way to remember it, is don't decapitate the subject with the horizon line. And the horizon line here is going right through his neck. It's kind of like decapitating him. Now, again, as I said before in the beginning, sometimes you have to shoot fast. But if Tricia Lombardi had gotten down like a little lower, that horizon line would not have been going through his neck. Also, I might have not included all these tourists in the background. If these tourists in the boat, taking shots, I could see like looks like a cell phone here. Actually, it's funny. This person's like shooting the other way. Like, I don't know what person's shooting right in the other direction. But anyway, it's a wonderful shot. And just a quick heads up to our members. Juan, have you been following Ramesh? I know.
I've seen a lot of the images that we've had on the shows here.
Okay, we're going to have Alec and I are going to do a pop-up session with him. We're going to do a test next week. Well, we're planning some other things, but Ramesh is amazing. He is the master of light and shadow. He's the king of light and shadows. He is really. Alec, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, he's amazing. He's a very talented man.
He's and he's such a nice man. So he lives in Chennai in India. Pardon?
Humble.
He's very humble. So I was Skyping with him today. Actually, that didn't work, so we went to Zoom. And so we're going to test next week with him. And who knows what's going to happen. But I think in about 2 years, when all this virus stuff is over, Susan and I are going to be in India with Ramesh. So stay tuned for information. But one, again, other than this, and this may not bother some people, we're just looking technically at stuff. Again, it's the feeling of the picture. But I think this is a pretty darn good exposure, considering this is so backlit, right? That we can still see detail in the faces.
No, I mean, there's so much to see in this image. I mean, I love the fact that our primary subject is this boy on the right-hand side that's deep in meditation. And you have all the other, there's lots of stuff going on in the scene. You have all the other people that look like they're about to meditate or just finished meditating. Plus you got the boy walking away. There's so much going on, but I am with you. I would remove the tourist boat in the background. That would be a Photoshop job. And this image I think that, despite the decapitation, I think it's worthwhile trying to remove that tourist boat in the background, because it is a beautiful image.
Well, it would take time. There's do you know Stephen Wright, the comedian?
No.
Well, Stephen Wright has all these one-liners like, if you have a funeral at night, do you drive with your lights off?
So this is almost like Rodney Dangerfield territory.
Well, it's like that. But why do kamikaze pilots wear helmets? But my favorite one of his, and this relates to what we're talking about here. My favorite one is everything is within walking distance as long as you have time. So it sounds funny, right? But this applies to photography. Everything's possible as long as you have time. So Tricia, as long as you have time, you could take time to clone out this tourist boat. It would take a long time. So again, it'd be easier, but again, maybe I think what Tricia wanted to do is really capture this, the action here. Okay, we're past the halfway point. Juan, I'm going to let you take it away. I may not comment too much, but we're going to start with your picks for love. And then we're going to get down to tough love.
Okay, so this image is from Mary. Mary is a good friend of mine, kind of the disclosure. And, she gets to go to these incredible remote places in Maine and sees and photographs some incredible scenery. And this is just absolutely stunning, gorgeous place. Looks like a summer in Maine, up in what we call the North Woods in Maine, really. Or down east, which is also kind of north. It makes no sense to me, but somebody explained to me recently why, even though it's north, it's called down east. But anyway, so beautiful scene again with the fog, and very similar to the images we've seen before. But lots of texture, lots of things to look about, and just a perfect reflection here.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? If I could go back to where's the picture that you said about the boat? Look how similar, right? Off to the left and off to the left here. I love this. I mean, this calming thing. Susan commented several times during the week that this topic was so good. So I want to really, and we want to thank our members so much for posting it. And the other thing here is the crop, right, Juan? Right? I always say, and you always say, if it doesn't add anything, take it out. So above here was probably boring. Down here was boring. Right. Although we do have, negative space in some pictures like that. I love this too. So glad you picked that.
But I really love the aspect ratio. This panoramic shots to me, especially for an image like this, is just, it aches to be printed really large to take up a big wall in a room.
Well, let me ask you a question. I find I'm cropping a lot of pictures in the HD format or the panorama format, whatever. I think it's because I'm watching HDTV. I'm used to seeing those dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I like to crop usually, if I can, especially landscapes, in a 2-to-1 ratio, so twice as long as tall, and no less than that. And the reason I think is because, to me, images that have a wide aspect ratio feel like there's more movement and they're more dynamic to them. This is why I personally don't care so much for the square, crop. It does work in certain situations like portraits and things like that, but the square crop, to me is very static. And this having this wide, long framing makes your eye move from left to right or right to left. And I think that's what makes it feel a little bit more dynamic. So, I mean, I've always been a sucker for, kind of the long format, if you will, or the wide angle format.
Excuse me. Also, I would encourage our members to read the comments. Look at this, well-blended pastels. Now, Juan and I didn't talk about the color, but this is really a great example of well-blended pastels. Don't you think, Juan?
Yeah, I mean, the colors is part of what makes this image, but they're subtle enough that really what draws you in is the entire scenery. You know, the colors are not in your face so that they're kind of like overtaking everything else. This really makes it, having the color so soft really makes it pay attention to the details.
Beauty.
Here's another one. Talk about pastels, right?
Kind of square, though.
Yeah, it is kind of square. And, you know, that was, you know, one of the comments I was going to make. I would probably remove a little bit of the top. You know, to me, the most interesting part is the lower part of the sky. I wouldn't completely remove the upper part of the sky, but I would maybe crop it a little more. And again, another boat. What is with boats in this week?
Yeah, you could shoot. Can your boat go up here?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how deep it is, but yeah.
That's because it's calm seas. That's
beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. You know, and that leading line of that inlet going back into the background, plus the red boat. I mean, how lucky are you to have a red boat out there? It's like having a person wearing a red jacket in the scene. It really draws your attention in.
J. Reed Giddes is a photographer's name. Very nice. Very, very nice. Oh man, Jim Hagen.
Yeah, this is, again, you know, this is why this week was hard for me to pick some of my favorite images, because there's so many, and this is just, you know, astounding. You know, remember what we talked about, trying to capture the motion of those waves of that moving water. You want to try a bunch of different shutter speeds to try to capture the best one that makes sense for that particular wave or that particular water movement or whatnot. You know, if you stick with like one set shutter speed, you know, you may have gotten this water may have been a little too crisp, and you may have lost this sort of sense of motion in the scene. And I love the fact that, you know, the scene is backlit, so you get that light hitting those mists of water on top of the waves. Very, very calming and soothing.
I was just going to say that this is backlit, yet, you know, we can see into the shadows here. So Jim, if Jim is listening, Alec,
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
But maybe he'll catch the replay.
What one of the things I asked Ramesh to do is, can you please post before and after? And he's doing it. And man, oh man, it is so educational. So if our members can post before and after images, I would love to see the before of this, because straight out of the camera, like look at this rock back here, right? This rock formation. This is backlit. We can't see any detail here. This is backlit. We can't see the detail. This is kind of backlit over here. We can see detail. And these highlights, I always say expose for the highlights. The highlights aren't overexposed and blown out. So I would love to see Jim's. Maybe I'll put a comment here. Afterward, could we see the before? But yeah, I love this one. Okay, we're still in the love, right, Juan?
Yep, we're still in the love, and I absolutely love this. You know, the expression and the connection that you have with your subject. This is why when we're shooting wildlife, we always want to be focusing on the eyes. We always want to see the eyes, because when we can make a connection, you know, with that subject, whether it's, you know, another human or some other animal, it makes the image. And I love how, you know, not just the connection that we're making, but the expression and the feeling and the pose and the way that it's framed by the tree. There's absolutely, I mean, I love this image. There's nothing about it that I would pick apart. It is just, you know, astounding. Good job, buddy. I agree. This is really nice.
I'm going to try something. Let me know, Juan, at your end if this works. If I go to 200%. Can we see this now still?
Yeah.
Look at the catch light in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that catch light really is a lot, whether it's an animal or person. And Juan, I agree, as you know, with your assessment of this image, that it's so beautiful. But look at just the gesture of the hands here, right? This is like a human gesture, right? This hand over here. I think this is just a wonderful.
Yeah, it's a kind of human gesture. I'm not sure how many of us humans would be able to hold that pose like he is, but yeah.
No. But look at the eye contact, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The eye contact is absolutely what makes this image.
And the background. I mean, it's perfect. Sean Boyle.
So, you know, again, this is another. I love this image. I love the distribution in this image. You know, Sean really followed that rule of thirds. You know, we have the background to set up and ground our image. We have amazing, beautiful skies. and a really interesting subject in that lighthouse. We've had a lot of lighthouses this week also.
Yeah.
And I think what really makes this image, gives it that extra kick, if you will, that extra boost, is the fact that the brightest part of the image is right behind that lighthouse. So it really draws our eye in and really lights that glass in the lighthouse, which really draws us in. Again, just an absolutely perfect image, an image that I would print and have on my wall as well.
Okay, tough love.
Okay, so now we're in the tough love section. So this is cool. I love the expression. I love the color. But see, what's happening here is that we have so little space at the bottom, and then we have so much negative space that's not really adding that much to our scene. And then we have some elements kind of encroaching in our scene at the very top of the image. So a couple of suggestions that I would have for a situation like this is, if you get down low, that space in between the egret or the heron, you can't really tell, I think it's an egret, and the background, it may be that there's something interesting over there at the top, but what happens is all that space in the middle gets compressed when you get down low, and it doesn't take up that much of the scene. I would also make sure that you're pointing down a little bit so that you give us a little bit more space on the ground to ground the image, to give us a sense of place. Right now, that shoreline is so close to the edge of the frame that it feels uncomfortable. So if anything else, what I would do with this image is maybe even crop it a little tight, to remove some of that negative space at the top, and it maybe add some space in the back, at the bottom of the image, and focus more on our subject, our primary subject, which is our egret, and the ripples in the water around it. But one of the things I want to commend Dwayne in doing here is allowing more space on the left and on the right. You're allowing space for your subject to go into in their natural way that they're walking. So that always makes an image that much more interesting.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The only thing I might do is, this is not a rule, but usually what's happening behind the subject isn't that important. So I might take a little bit off the right. I get rid of this, and I do like all the negative space. I forget the photographer. I think it was Art Wolf who said that you could usually find like 5 different compositions or 5 pictures in a picture. So this could be cropped, just the bird. This could be cropped like this, whatever. But Wayne, thanks so much for posting. We really appreciate it. Okay, Juan, here you go. Pamela de Camp.
Pamela, another beautiful, beautiful shot. Kind of a more artistic. It looked like she applied some sort of watercolor filter to the scene. This is the Mormon barns and the Mormon row in Grand Tetons, with the Tetons in the background, and pretty dramatic sky, which is the favorite type of sky when I'm shooting. My favorite type of sky when I'm shooting around the Tetons, having that nice dramatic sky, and with those cottonwoods in the background that look like they're in fall color. It's beautiful. But my issue with the image, it's such a beautiful image, but it feels very static. And why does it feel static, even though it's a nice panoramic aspect ratio? It's because that barn is smack in the middle, right? It's like, going back to your dead center is deadly. Yeah. What I did is I actually went in and cropped the image with putting that barn a little bit to the left and cropped a little bit of those cottonwoods on the left-hand side. And you can see how much more dramatic the image becomes, not only because our subject is bigger in the scene because we're looking more into the barn, but also because now we have more flow in the scene. We're going from left to right in this image as our eyes follow that contour of the roof of the barn, and looking at the beautiful cottonwoods on the right. So there's definitely much more flow in the scene, and it still remains that panoramic aspect ratio. So, pay attention to the placement of your subjects. Just don't put them dead center. I'm not saying you shouldn't always, you shouldn't have subjects dead center. Sometimes that works. But in a scene like this, the left part of the original image is not adding a lot to the scene. by zooming in some more and bringing in more detail, I can see more of that dramatic sky, more of the barn, more of the more interesting cottonwoods on the right-hand side. So be critical. Think about that. Think about the placement of your subjects. Think about how much room your subjects are taking in the scene. And what could you do to really emphasize what's important in the scene?
I totally agree. And Juan, you've been here, right?
Many times, yeah.
Many times. So this is not the main place. This is not the main barn. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the barn on the other side, the smaller barn, right?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah. But anyway, if you go there, for our members, if you go there, this is definitely a morning shoot, right? Because the sun sets behind these mountains. But one thing I want to say is, I think Juan commented on some of these other pictures about the sky. I think Pamela, who posted a ton here. So thanks. Alec, is she here? Who posted a ton?
I did not see her, but I'll double check.
Well,
I don't see
well,
her.
she's forgiven this time. But it's recorded. So for our members, seriously, if you're enjoying this and having as much fun as Alec, Juan, and I are having. These are recorded, so you could watch this again. But I love the sky here. That this oil, this looks like a painting. And sometimes, I always say, well, I don't always say. Sometimes I say that the subject suggests. I was going to say dictates, but the subject suggests the plugin. And I think the sky suggested to Pamela, this beautiful, painterly type plugin. So I love it.
So yeah, I think you're right. And one comment that you made earlier, that mornings are better here unless you have these dramatic skies. Then you can shoot here, kind of any time of the day if you have these amazingly beautiful dramatic skies. Okay.
A lot of comments on the sky.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the sky.
The contrast of the sky to the mountain off to the right.
Well, I've adopted this as a Sammonism, but it's not my original saying. But the Sammonism is the key to a good landscape picture is a good sky, right? So if we go back and look at these, right? Look at the sky in like all of these pictures, right? So we really have to think about the sky. Okay, Juan, coming up.
So here's another one where you really want to focus in on what's important in your scene. I think what's really important here is certainly the color on the sky, beautiful color, beautiful sky. But it really, I think to me, the image is about the elk crossing the river. It's a beautiful scene. So what I would do is, there's a lot of negative space at the bottom, a lot of water that's not really adding anything to the scene. You have this kind of tree on the right-hand side that is a little bit dominating. So I, again, like the other image, I cropped it in a little bit. You want to go to the next one, Rick? And see how much better this image is. You are actually drawn in and transported much closer to those elk than you were before. So you can see a lot more detail. You get to see a lot of more of that beautiful color in the trees and on that sky. So, pay attention to the position of those animals. Pay attention to the position of your main subjects in the scene.
Juan, I think this brings up a really good point that cropping gives us a second chance at composition. A nice shot here, right? This looks like maybe a full frame shot. Jim Hagan, great job here. But, cropping does gives us a second chance at composition. And look at this. I mean, I might darken this over here a little, but boy, oh boy, I'd love to see that, right?
But you see how your eye now is more drawn towards the elk and the color of the in the background, the beautiful yellows, and that one on the right, that tree on the right, is no longer, kind of the one that's drawing so much of your attention. Now it kind of becomes a supporting actor as opposed to trying to compete for your primary actor in the scene. So and Alec, absolutely beautiful, gorgeous scene.
And Alec, you know about actors, right? From Don.
I do, and that's where I'm headed next. Actually,
you want to talk about that just a bit?
Well, no, I'm actually taking a virtual workshop tonight with our friend Don Kamarashka on ultraviolet macro photography. So I'm looking forward to diving into that.
That's pretty cool. I remember his images. He does some incredible stuff with those ultraviolet macro images.
Yeah, but Don talks about the actors, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the putting the actor in the scene, making them the center of focus and attention. And I certainly agree with, when Juan made the crop, it certainly changed the focus on where it belonged.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of cropping and images with impact, look at this Doug Bucklaw's picture.
Yeah, I mean, and again, just like last time, these images that I'm picking out, they're beautiful images, incredible images. What I'm trying to do is give you guys the edge to take those images that one step further to make him that much more impressive. And here, I think our crop is a little too tight compared to the other ones. The other one, the cropping wasn't tight enough. Here, for me, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more space at the top. To give my subject a little bit more room to breathe. And then one of the challenge with, this bighorn sheep is, where the horn lies in relation to the features of the face. See what's happening here on the left-hand side. We have that ear that's kind of poking out a little bit. So it's kind of confusing. Is there an eye? Is there not an eye? So something you want to be paying attention to with these guys. You either want to be able to include the eye completely or not include it at all. Right now we're seeing a tiny bit of that eye and that ear. So that left-hand side of the face gets a little bit confusing as you're looking at it. It's a great pose. I never tire of shooting bighorn sheep because I think they do have this sort of regal looking to them, like they know that they're hot stuff. With his big horns, I absolutely love them. So, but pay attention to that angle of the head. With most animals, paying attention to the angle and where the eye lies and where it doesn't lie, it's always important. Make sure that you can either see it completely or you have it completely hidden. And here it's just a little bit. We wanted maybe a couple more degrees away from you to completely hide that left side of the eye and that ear that's on the left-hand side.
And all those tips apply to people pictures too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
we can't see the
same thing. Yeah.
But this does have impact. Again, we see a lot of these pictures small on the group page, but you zoom in. So I would encourage our members, look at these full screen. You're in control of every single pixel in the image. So think about that when you're posting an image. But I like the catch light in this eye. Okay, coming down the home stretch.
Let's go back one more. The background is amazing to me as well.
Yeah,
beautiful
I know.
Background. The way that it offsets, it still matches the color, so it gives you a sense of place, but still gives you that sense of depth into the scene. So well done, Doug.
Well, he shot it wide open, 5.6.
Yeah, and
so
that's
really
usually what we want to
back.
shoot wildlife in. Yes, wildlife. I'm always shooting wide open.
So I think a couple of reasons to do that. You're separating the subject from the background, right? I mean, this subject is popping off the screen to me.
Right.
So,
well, the thing is, with a lot of these guys, we're shooting at a distance, right?
Yeah.
And depth of field grows with distance. So you want to shoot wide open so that you do get to put those backgrounds out of focus and give you that sort of sense of depth and dimension.
Doug is looking at every pixel. He says, look, it's starting to rain, the dark spots. Like, look up here, the rain.
Yeah.
So, Doug, you have a good eye. Okay, last one.
Beautiful, absolute beautiful scene. I love the moodiness of it. I love the swan that's completely lit up with that sort of dark, moody background. But just like some of the other ones, I would do cropping a little bit different. Right now, our swan is right in the middle of the scene, right? So I think, no, Rick, I think you put the same one twice.
I put the same one in there?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I could get the other one here.
The one that I cropped.
Tough love adjusted. Here we go. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Here we go. Take rid of this, get rid of that. Here we go. How's that for service?
Okay, there we go. And you see what I did here? I did a slight crop. I cropped a little bit on the left because there was a lot of darkness there that wasn't adding a lot to the scene. I cropped a little bit from the top. And then I also cleaned up some artifacts that were on the right-hand side. There were some elements that were cropping in on the right-hand side that kind of started pulling my eye a little bit. So I cropped basically on the top, on the left, and on the bottom a tiny bit to really focus our eyes again on what's important to scene, which is our subject and our secondary subject, which is that beautifully lit tree in the background.
Yeah.
So again, it's a beautiful image to begin with. We're just improving it that tiny bit more by just making very slight adjustments.
Yeah, just those slight adjustments, Juan, I think, nice enough, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a little distracting over here. And by the way, if you're going to post your pictures that were illustrated in the picture with the bevel around it, I forget where that was. Where's that picture with there?
Yeah.
Posting your pictures with the frames around them really makes them stand out. Okay, I can't stop screen sharing. And we're back.
So it's just a comment from Gene about the vertical crop on the last one having such an impact. Right. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that was fun as always.
So Rick, we have a couple things. Yeah, but we didn't. We have to do two things. We have to welcome the fact that we now have 2,800 members. So thank you for spreading the word on our Facebook Facebook group page. We have 2,800 members. I did a quick.
My headphone wasn't working. Can you say that again?
2,800. 2800.
That's crazy.
Okay, and we don't have to do a recount. 2,800 members. I can also share that this one may need a recount. We have 133 topics, so that's 21 topics per member. There was some discussion in the chat about before and after as a topic. I want to point out it is a topic with 130 images in it. So we're gonna do some work there, and we have a new moderator.
Yeah.
Okay. Our
Tom
friend
Reese.
of Rick and Tom Reese.
Oh, cool.
Is Tom here?
Has joined. He's not here, but he is not. But he's not here, but he's joined us as a moderator.
Tom Reese is posting these amazing pictures, I think since March. Like every week he has a purple shirt on, so you recognize him there. But he's doing these composites that I couldn't do. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a master, don't you think, guys?
Oh, yeah.
He's a master at these composites, and the members are loving what he's doing. So I asked him if he would be like a moderator, and he said sure. So we want to thank all our moderators, you guys, Tom, Alec, let me know if I leave anyone out. Jim Griggs, Marshall, Phyllis Webster, Freddie Clark,
Linda,
and Linda Mar. Oh, you're back on Monday with Linda, right?
Yep, we're going to do meditation on Monday. So join us right here on the YouTube channel at 12 noon.
Well, speaking of calm, tune in on Monday at 12 to be nice and calm. Oh, yeah, there's Alex being the namaste business. Good. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for our viewers. And, we have people all over the world. And again, stay tuned for Ramesh. Alec, we're going to do a pop-up thing with Ramesh. We're talking to him next week, and that's going to be a ton of fun. So I really love doing this, guys. And thank you so much. And we'll catch you later. And
Take care, guys. Remember, the next session will be in 2 weeks from today, right?
Yes.
No session next week. It'll be one from 2 weeks from today.
I used to stay safe and sound. Now I'm saying stay safe, sound, and sane.
Sane, yes.
You got to stay sane. Okay, guys, take care.
Take care, folks. See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Peace and love.